Goethe's Two Faces, Two Worlds Seeking Life's Wisdom through Iphigenie and Stella reading is more than just reading words. It is one of the most powerful tools to connect with people from other times and places, broadening our worldview. Deeply resonating with the request to introduce essay-style reading to those lacking knowledge and cultivation, this article explores the wisdom and insights we can gain through two plays by the German literary giant Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, Iphigenie auf Taurus and Stella. Classical literature is often seen as difficult and boring, but it contains timeless human struggles and emotions. Although these two works by Goethe come from the same author, they showcase strikingly different styles and themes, offering us a valuable opportunity to understand the complexity and multifaceted nature of humanity. It's as if holding two different mirrors to reflect ourselves and the world. 1. Iphigenie transcending savagery through reason and human love. Starting with Iphigenie, this tragedy, based on a Greek myth, is a masterpiece written during Goethe's period of classical idealism after his Italian journey. Iphigenie reinterprets the essence of Greek literature with modern sensitivity, exploring the dignity of humanity and deep moral reflection beyond a mere mythological story. 1.1. Summary of the work: The courage of a woman who breaks a cycle of curses. The story begins with Iphigenie, daughter of King Agamemnon of Mycenae, being destined as a sacrifice to the goddess Artemis before the Trojan War. Moved with pity, Artemis brings her to the island of Taurus, where she becomes a priestess. The island's savage custom demands that strangers be sacrificed to Artemis. Iphigenie opposes this brutal tradition but is powerless against King Thoas' commands. Years later, her brother Orestes and his friend Pylades arrive on the island to steal Artemis's statue for a prophecy promising to free Orestes from his mother Clytemnestra's murder. Curse. Immediately, they face the danger of being sacrificed as strangers. Iphigenie, bound by her priestess duties, is torn between her humanity and her role when she discovers Orestes is her brother. They reunite emotionally, but Iphigenie faces a complex dilemma: saving her brother and friend while retrieving the statue. She could lie and escape the island with Orestes, but she refuses deceit, believing it contradicts her dignity and moral purity. Ultimately, she chooses to confess the truth: her identity, Orestes' cursed fate, and the prophecy to return the statue to Athens. Her honest confession deeply moves King Thoas. Moved by her noble character and courage, he releases Iphigenie, Orestes, and Pylades. Orestes is freed from his curse, and Iphigenie breaks the tragic cycle by upholding her convictions. 1.2. Insights: Truth, Human Love, and the Attitude of a Civilized Person. Iphigenie offers the following key insights: The power of truth. Iphigenie faces the temptation to lie or deceive to improve her situation. However, she chooses to speak the truth, which ultimately saves everyone. It shows that honesty and integrity are the most powerful solutions, even in difficult contexts. In daily life, small lies might seem to ease immediate problems but often create greater issues. Iphigenie reminds us that truth has the power to restore relationships and even transform society. Breaking cycles of revenge and savagery. The Agamemnon family is bound by blood curses and cycles of revenge. By breaking these through forgiveness and reconciliation, Iphigenie demonstrates that dialogue and understanding, not violence and retaliation, are the civilized way to resolve conflicts. Whether in personal relationships or societal disputes, we often fall into cycles of revenge. Iphigenie shows that true peace and healing begin by transcending such feelings. Victory of Reason and Human Love. This work celebrates the noble spirit of humanity overcoming ignorance and savagery through reason and moral love. Iphigenie, guided by her conscience and rational judgment, convinces King Thoas. It teaches that we must not rely solely on emotional reactions but must think rationally and maintain our dignity as human beings regardless of the situation. Taking an active stance toward fate. Despite being a mythic figure, Iphigenie does not passively accept her fate. She resists the savage customs even as a priestess and positively impacts her family and the island. This highlights that meaningful change arises when we take an active, self-directed attitude toward our lives and destinies. Iphigenie is like a serene yet powerful river that instills peace and nobility within us. It reminds us that true civilization lies in solving problems through calm reason and steadfast conviction, not emotional outbursts. 2. Stella. Tragic conflicts of love, desire, and social constraints. In sharp contrast to Iphigenie is Stella, one of Goethe's early works, written during the Sturm und Drang, storm and stress, period, which emphasized intense emotions and individual freedom against rationality. Stella captures this spirit, depicting the tragic conflicts of individuals caught between societal moral standards and personal feelings. 2.1. Summary of the work. Unfulfilled love and social tragedy among three people. The protagonist, Fernando, abandoned his wife Cecilia and daughter to live with Stella. However, he soon left Stella as well and wandered. Stella remained deeply tormented, unable to forget Fernando. The story begins when Fernando returns to Stella. They rekindle their love and decide to live together again, but this happiness is short-lived. A servant who comes to Stella's house turns out to be Cecilia and their daughter. Cecilia, though abandoned by her husband, still loves him and has raised their daughter alone, enduring suffering. Her presence becomes a major obstacle for Stella and Fernando's love. Now, the three face complex emotional whirlpools. Fernando struggles between his passionate love for Stella, guilt for Cecilia, and paternal love for their daughter. Stella cannot let go of Fernando despite knowing his family. Cecilia suffers from her longing for her husband, her pain of abandonment, and feelings of jealousy and compassion towards Stella. In the first edition, Goethe concluded with a shocking ending. The three, unable to find social resolution or peace, end their lives in a tragic double suicide. This vividly illustrates how free love and desires can be crushed by rigid societal morals. Later, Goethe revised the tragic ending due to criticism, adding a somewhat strange happy ending where all three live together. 2.2. Insights. Conflicts between social constraints and desire, and the complexity of human nature. Stella offers us these insights. Individual desires in social constraints. The work portrays how marriage and social norms suppress and destroy personal love and desires. Each character seeks love and desires in their own way but ends in tragic circumstances due to societal restrictions. It reminds us how powerless individuals can be against social norms and institutions, urging us to reflect on how societal rules affect our lives. The complexity and contradictions of love. Stella shows that love is not purely beautiful. Passionate love can wound others, provoke societal criticism, and lead to self-destruction. Love for one person can deeply hurt another, and complex emotions like jealousy, compassion, and guilt intertwine to complicate love's essence. Through this, we understand the dual and multifaceted nature of love. Tragic realities of women. Stella and Cecilia are portrayed as victims of men's choices and desires. One suffers from abandonment, while the other is caught in an unacknowledged love situation. This reflects the vulnerability of women in a male-dominated society and highlights ongoing issues of gender inequality. The Cost of Emotional Intensity. As a representative work of the Sturm und Drang period, Stella vividly depicts the emotional outbursts of its characters. Uncontrolled passions and desires ultimately lead to tragedy. It reminds us that while expressing emotions honestly is important, we must also consider their impact on others and ourselves responsibly. Stella is like a fierce storm that shakes our feelings, compelling us to confront the dark and complex desires within human hearts. Through the struggles and tragedies of individuals and social constraints, we understand the contradictions and complexity of life. 3. Universal wisdom gained from both works. Though Iphigenie and Stella differ greatly in background, themes, and style, both ultimately explore the essence of humanity and the meaning of life. Deep insights into human nature. Iphigenie reveals the victory of reason, morality, and noble spirit, while Stella exposes the conflicts and tragedies of passionate emotions and social constraints. Reading both is akin to understanding both the bright and dark aspects of human nature, the rational and emotional sides. Goethe leads us to deeply reflect on the multifaceted and complex nature of humanity. Understanding the relationship between society and individuals. Both works show how individual lives interact with the culture, norms, and historical contexts of society. Iphigenie illustrates an individual's attempt to overcome savage social customs with rational human love, while Stella portrays the tragedy of desires crushed by social constraints. This prompts us to reflect on individuals' roles and responsibilities within society and how society influences individuals. Modern relevance of classical literature. Despite being centuries old, the values of truth from Iphigenie, breaking cycles of violence, and restoring human dignity remain relevant in today's international relations and social conflicts. Similarly, the complexities of love and desires in Stella, and the pain of individuals trapped in social prejudices and institutional constraints, resonate with modern issues such as family relationships, gender problems, and respect for diversity. The enduring power of classical literature lies in its ability to transcend time and address fundamental human questions. Embracing the complexity of life. The world is not simple. Gray areas exist where good and evil, right and wrong are not clearly defined. Iphigenie moves toward ideal solutions with clear moral standards, while Stella presents a tragic situation where everything intertwines with no clear answers. Through these works, we learn to accept life's complexities and contradictions, gaining wisdom on how to live in an imperfect world. 4. Crossing the threshold to expand knowledge and cultivation. Many may wonder if it is necessary to read such difficult classical works. Knowledge and cultivation are not exclusive to a select few but essential assets for enriching life, deepening understanding of the world, and finding our own existence. Goethe's 2 works will serve as excellent guides for your first steps into this journey. Through Iphigenie, we learn the dignity and power of truth even in extreme situations. Through Stella, we understand the struggles of humanity in the shadow of love and social pressures. Reading goes beyond acquiring information, allowing us to indirectly experience others' lives, empathize with their emotions, and ultimately reflect on our own lives. Reading opens our hearts, broadens our horizons, and offers new perspectives on the world. Goethe's Iphigenie and Stella will serve as the most powerful and captivating guides as you cross the threshold into classical literature. Through these works, I sincerely recommend experiencing the beauty, tragedy, and profound meaning of human life. The moment you turn the first page, your mind and emotions will expand into deeper and broader worlds.